Judicial Watch also argues against Clinton's argument that the server. This is classic because I don't think I've alerted you to this argument that she had made, and you're going to like the analogy that our lawyers came up with here. Judicial Watch also argues against Clinton's argument that she held the server under claim of right when it contained thousands of federal records. Judicial Watch states that unlike other secretaries of state like Henry Kissinger, because there was this big case with Kissinger where he had his records, he took his records, and the law was less clear back then, and I think kicked it over to the National Archives or a third party, and so there was a big brouhaha about access to the Kissinger records. Now, unlike other secretaries of state like Henry Kissinger, Clinton did not obtain an opinion from state's legal advisor on whether she could take the federal records prior to her departure from state. So Kissinger got legal advice before he took the records. Clinton's claim of right argument over her server would also be like bank robbery. I've always been of the opinion that Hillary Clinton stole those records and should have been held accountable in that regard under criminal law. But in the case of her deposition, we explain a bank robber who stuffed bills into a duffel bag during a robbery may own the bag, but has no claim of right to the stolen cash. Is Clinton claiming a legal right to the agency records stored on the server? If so, petitioners offer no factual or legal support for such a claim. While the server may not have been Clinton's property, the agency records on the server plainly were not. And what I like particularly about Judicial Watch's litigation is because we kind of try to write the briefs. We try to pursue litigation that's accessible to every American. So I encourage you to read our lawsuits. I encourage you to read our briefs. And I'm a non-lawyer, and I can understand them. I'm not super smart. So, read them. They're interesting. They're interesting if you're interested in law, and they're interesting especially if you're a citizen who's interested in the ability of groups like Judicial Watch and citizens like Judicial Watch to use the law to hold government officials accountable. And so we highlight through this litigation what the law requires, what the underlying scandal issues are often, because we're often pursuing scandal information. And we also highlight the efforts of the government and government officials like Hillary Clinton to avoid the consequences of their illicit decisions, and how they sometimes misuse the law and misstate the law in order to get that done. And we do that in a way that most everybody can understand. So I encourage you, as said, to read that brief that we put out. And maybe I'll read the entire brief next time. Give me a comment, and I'll in the video you're watching, and we'll take a look, and maybe I'll read the entire brief, because I did read Judge Lambert's order, which was just fantastic, a few weeks ago in its entirety. So maybe I'll read the entire brief next week. So let me know if you want us to do that.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.